Hey, we're back already. So I'm so happy and so excited that some of you have reached out and you wanted to hear more about how to protect your legacy, preserve your legacy. So I'm Erica L. Abrams. I am the Gen X Wealth Architect, and I'm inviting all new fellow architects to come on in and let's figure out how we can support one another on this journey in our next phase of life. So, on this channel, we're focused on building wealth, protecting health, and preserving legacy. You can read all about my credentials in the link in my bio and visit my websites. What we're going to talk about right now is building your foundation for executing a good life insurance program and estate plan. Okay, so let's get into it. So I asked you before to comment the word dime, and dime is very essential in evaluating and understanding and conceptualizing what you need to consider as it relates to setting up a plan for your family to protect your family in the event that the unthinkable happens. Okay. So, as a licensed insurance advisor, I sit down with my clients and I help them understand these are some things that you need to consider, right? So, DIME, okay? DIME stands for death and debt, okay? Death and debt, all right? So, when you're looking at your plan, if you were to have passed away yesterday, the D in the dime, what would you want for your final service? How much money would you want set aside for that? Would you want a traditional funeral service? Would you want a cremation and memorial service? Would you want something extremely elaborate where you have a lot of people around to help to memorialize you? Or would you want something very simplistic? That's a personal decision. It's a very intimate decision. And it's something that some folks decide to work through with their loved ones, their partner, spouse, family members, children, etc. And so you want to think about how much you want to invest in that. The typical funeral at the recording of this video, on the low end, you might spend bare bones $8,000. The average funeral service in the year 2026 for a average moderate funeral service in the traditional sense in the United States, what we would consider a traditional funeral, is going to be anywhere from twelve to $15,000. Okay, and it can go upwards. I mean, it can extend way beyond that. Unfortunately, we lost our dad in 2017. And in looking at the final invoicing for the funeral service, there was ways that we actually saved money through his sacrifice being a veteran. We were able to utilize the Veteran Service Commission services to be able to offer various cost-cutting investments that the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs afforded him for his sacrifice being in the Marine Corps. And so there was ways that we could save, and I recommend that all individuals who are service members or who have veteran family members who have passed away to tap in with the Veteran Service Commission in their respective city, because they have resources available to help to honor the life of the veteran who has passed away in your family. And there are monetary as well as material things that they can contribute, like the tombstone, as well as the monetary contribution that they can make, small but still important to consider. And then there's also bringing the respective branch of the military to come to physically honor your loved one at the funeral service. To go back to the cost of that funeral could have gone well into $25,000 or more, but there were ways that we were able to save money and still have a very respectable, honorable service for a man that we loved immensely. Cremation, you're looking at $1,200 or so. You have to get the urn and things like that. But anyhow, for the dime, and the D in dime is death. Okay, so what do you want for your actual service? All right, so you want to think about that. And some people sit down with their family members at funeral home of choice and get all of that squared away. And that's something that you might want to consider as well. And not to be morbid, but I mean, and it's no fun to think about. Trust me, it's not. However, death is a part of life. And one of the things that we can do is unburden our family in a time that eventually will come for all of us, but unburden them from some of those decisions that they may not be able to really make in an emotional state that could be challenging at that time. All right, so you want to think about how much you want to spend for your actual service. And then on the debt side, okay, so D can stand for death and debt in the dime matrix, okay? So for debt, you want to think about, is there any money that you want to set aside to pay off essential debt that could hold your family back, okay? This is separate from mortgage debt. We're going to talk about that a little later. But debt, what debt might you have accrued in your lifetime at this point in time that you may want to set aside monies for in your life insurance program to basically pay for and relieve your family from that debt? You do want to think about any debt that they may have to reconcile or refinance in some capacity, or that could hold them back from accessing essential elements of your estate plan. Okay. So we'll come back and we'll talk about the next portion of the dime concept. But please like, share, and subscribe. Leave any questions that you have in the comments. I'm excited and happy to support you in understanding these concepts even more. So many of us want to do right by our families, but we kind of don't know where to start. And one of the reasons I got into the industry, I was compelled to get into the industry and add being a licensed insurance advisor to my dossier, so to speak, in order to be able to help support my community and all communities for that matter. But specifically considering that a lot of households in the Black community don't have enough representation from insurance professionals like myself, it was a great way for me to help support my community and also benefit my entrepreneurial portfolio as well. I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what questions you may have, what you may appreciate from this content, what you might want to better understand, and I am happy to interact with you. Again, my name's Erica L. Abrams, the Gen X Wealth Architect, and we are here to help you build wealth, protect health, and preserve legacy. You all have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.